You go to university, you get your degree, and then what? Ideas are an essential part of the creative industry, yet time and time again, individuals step into this exceptional world with decidedly unexceptional ideas, if any at all. Taking the time to look around you, absorbing what's going on in the world, and seeking inspiration at every opportunity can make you stand out and really make a difference. Not only for a single organization, the company that you're working for, but for the industry as a whole. In a millennial world where information is food, how can you turn that nourishment into something truly pioneering? So, I am a marketeer, but I am also a marketeer's dream. From the coffee I drink, to the books I read, to the restaurants that I go to the clothes that I wear, I fall for it every time. Not that long ago, my colleague and I were walking through the streets of Chester. We'd been to a meeting. We should have been concentrating on work. We were completely transfixed by the smell that was passing through the centre of Chester. We followed that smell down to Penhaligon's and proceeded to buy some perfume. So I fall for it every time. But where would we be without these marketing campaigns and ultimately the ideas that are driving them? Imagine a world with no imagination. The high street would be a pretty dull place to be. We'd all be wearing the same clothes, which would be very disappointing. We'd all be eating exactly the same food, and there would be no exciting tourism campaigns. We would just look in a book, find a place we want to go, get on a plane, go to a beach, that's it. And there would be nothing inspirational about it. Websites would do the absolute bare minimum. We've all done that thing where we've clicked on something we like, we decide we can't quite afford it, and then it doesn't leave us alone. It follows us everywhere that we go on the internet. Well, that wouldn't be happening. You'd just be going onto websites, getting what you wanted, and then leaving. Even cavemen had ideas. So what makes a great marketing idea? This is Simba. I don't know whether any of you have heard of it before. It's a fantastic mattress company. It was one of the first mattress companies in the UK to deliver a mattress in a box. It's basically changed in the way that we've purchased mattresses, from the clever technology to the fact that if you sleep on it, you've got 100 nights of sleeping on it. If you don't like it, you can send it back. But the best thing of all is the fact it comes in a box, and when it gets out of the box, it unfolds itself. How many times have you moved into a new flat, a new house? You have that thing where you're trying to push the mattress up the stairs, someone's pulling, you fall out, everybody gets hurt, it's just a huge mess. But what about the fact that you can get this mattress delivered to your home in the room that you want it to be in a tiny box, and then it gets unwrapped into the perfect mattress? So through digital and print campaigns, as well as other elements, like influencer campaigns, gifting, tube advertising, they've been all over the tube, I've seen them everywhere. This brand is now so great that everybody is trying to emulate it. Nike, we all know about Nike. In the 1980s, their campaign, Just Do It, basically transformed the company. Nike was a marathon runners company. It was for people that ran. And they decided to diversify. And in order to diversify, they had to look at a different way of doing that and getting people's attention. So this Just Do It campaign meant that everybody could get involved. Can I really be bothered to go to the gym? Just do it. Do I look like Phoebe from Friends when I run? Just do it. In 1988, Nike sales were at $800 billion, which to you and I is not doing that badly. But by 1998, sales had exceeded $9.2 billion. Boddingtons. Some of you may have heard of the brand. I'm sure lots of you have had a drink of it. Boddingtons was famed initially for being one of the first companies to introduce the widget into their cans, but it was also responsible for an amazing campaign in the 1990s, which not only raised the profile of the product itself, but it also managed to raise the profile of a whole city, the city of Manchester, with its Cream of Manchester campaign.
That Gladys Oldthorpe, she never buys her own.
Boddingtons, the cream of Manchester.
It's a campaign I certainly remember from my childhood. So, There are these campaigns, and then there are the new spin campaigns. And a new spin campaign is a company that's doing really well, and then all of a sudden something happens, and things start to go wrong. So what happens in this situation? A really good example of this is Burberry. It was a brand that everybody started to avoid in the 1990s because it was starting to get really bad press from certain undesirables that started to wear the label. There were famously 2 pubs in Leicester that actually banned anyone from wearing Burberry in their pubs. So Burberry's creative director had a great idea, and he wanted to overhaul the brand. They snapped up high-profile celebrities like Kate Moss and Emma Watson, and they basically raised the desirability of this product again. They also used people like Romeo Beckham, who himself has a massive profile, and it's just drawing attention to a brand which is still doing clothing amazingly well, but it's just putting a different spin on it. McDonald's is another one. Everybody loves a cheeky McDonald's. My 9-year-old son told me to put that part in. With documentaries such as Super Size Me, it was doing nothing for the brand. Super Size Me was basically saying that McDonald's was one of the big contributing factors to obesity in America because it was all of the large portions, it was unhealthy eating. So they needed to think about what they were going to do, and they needed to turn things around. So they, again, looked at their product, but also their campaign. The products, they started to introduce sort of healthy salads, wraps, that sort of thing. And they then brought in this I'm Loving It campaign, and they featured an original tune by Justin Timberlake on there, which was a really, really great idea because everybody liked Justin Timberlake. He's a likeable guy, and it allowed them to draw attention to the I'm Loving It campaign, which worked really, really well. The image then moved quite swiftly from fast food to good food served fast. Apple, everybody knows Apple. It's an amazing company. Pretty much everybody has some kind of Apple product somewhere along the line. But according to Business Insider, in 1997, Apple was veering dangerously close to bankruptcy. 20 years later, the company is now stronger than ever before. So what is their secret? Well, their product is fantastic. It's a beautiful, creative product. It's well made, but it's not too loud, doesn't shout too much, and that's exactly what they've done with their campaigns. They've created very incredibly sophisticated campaigns that gets people's attention and gives them a trust in the brand. The impatient generation. We think it's just part of a generation. Actually, we're all the impatient generation these days. I heard somewhere the other day that people don't get bored anymore, and it's so true. We never sort of take time to sit still and get bored. We're always picking up our phones or fiddling with something or playing on iPads, whatever it is. No one's actually taking the time to just be bored. And in my opinion, that's when you get some of the best ideas, when you're just out there not looking at anything, not doing anything. Things start to pop into your head. So in this fast-moving world, we don't have much time to get people's attention. It's just so quick, and we've got to do something truly exceptional to get people's attention. People are spending just over 2 hours a day online on their smartphone. I think it's probably more than that, if we're all honest with ourselves. But when they're on there and when we're on there, we have to remember that people are looking at a lot of content. So you've got to be quick, we've got to be different, we've got to be shouting out. But what are people looking at, and what are the inspirational bits? Where should you be looking for the most inspirational information? The news. The news has changed so much. It's so much faster these days. But a lot of people are getting their news from social media. These figures absolutely blow my mind. 51% of people use social media as a source of news each week. 1 in 10 say that it's their main source. And more than a quarter of 18 to 24-year-olds, that's 28% of people that were surveyed, say that social media is their main source of news. Figures like that blow my mind. I'm kind of quite a traditionalist when it comes to news, but if that's where people are getting it, then it's good for me. People are still interested in the broadsheets. They're still popular, so the likes of the Telegraph, the Guardian, the Times. But people are doing a lot more snippet reading. Daily Mail strip of shame, we've all been there. Everybody looks at that before they go to sleep, don't they? Anyone? The Huffington Post, this is one of my favourite publications actually online. It's really great for short burst news snippets, but it also has really, really in-depth stories as well that go into the deep roots of stories that we just don't seem to tend to have the time to do anymore. BuzzFeed is a really interesting Marmite sort of site. It's really great for information, but whether all the information is the stuff that we should be after, I'm not sure. However, BuzzFeed have actually been responsible for breaking quite a few important stories over the last few months, so don't say no to anything. According to the Pew Research Center in the US, people are spending on average 57 seconds reading short burst news articles. But just watch what you're looking at. Not too many puppies, please. For me, documentaries are an amazing source of information. They cover everything from animals in captivity to the true cost of fashion to the earth, which I found absolutely fascinating. I would recommend watching as much as you possibly can, but I would also recommend watching outside of your comfort zone. You're sure to learn something truly fantastic. And there's so much content out there. If you've got access to Netflix or anything like that, there are just literally thousands of documentaries that you can have a look at. Bloggers versus influencers. Myself and my team work with influencers every day, and this is growing literally by the minute. Blogs the way that blogs are used is sort of changing now. It's definitely more heading towards influencers for product placement, and blogs are being used more for sort of topical stories that people can talk about. Going out on Instagram, YouTube, businesses are putting huge budgets behind these people now. We do so much work with influencers. We're about to take a load of influencers out on a trip to the Arctic because a watch brand that we work with is influenced by the Arctic. So these lucky people get to come with us to the Arctic and go husky sledging. Everyone's looking for different ways of getting their attention, just to get their products onto them, to wear their clothes, to travel to their destinations, and basically giving these businesses access to not just hundreds, but thousands and hundreds of thousands of followers. Some of these people have got millions of followers. It's really incredible. So the opportunities are endless, from everything from like health, lifestyle, fashion, everything that you want to get involved with, you can. But equally, from an interest perspective, again, like I said with the documentaries, it's really good to think outside the box. Look at some unusual influencers that aren't necessarily the genres that you would currently follow, different ages, different countries. Father of daughters, his wife is also an influencer, and they get to do some incredible stuff, and they have many, many followers. Basically follows the life of them and their 4 children. Podcasts. I would personally like to think I'm responsible for the rebirth of the podcast. I am absolutely obsessed with them. I never shut up about them. From feminism, women in business, LGBT communities, medical advisors, specialists in table manners, entrepreneurial minds. There's a massive, broad spectrum of people that you can listen to on these podcasts. I really enjoy the business podcasts, everything from the guy that invented the trunkie that kids sit on in airports when you get run over your toes, to the people that invented or that launched Leon, the healthy food chain. There's just so much to be learnt from these people, and they're happy to talk about where they went wrong and where they went right and share their stories. There are many, many ways to listen: walking to work, driving to work, in the car, on the bus, in the bath, on the beach. I recently went away on a romantic holiday with my husband for a week with no children. I took a massive pile of books with the expectation that I would read every single page of these books. I didn't read a single page. I just listened to podcasts the whole time, which I don't know what that says about me, but there we go. So carrying out activity that regenerates the mind and also feeds your imagination, I think, is really, really important. I like to go out. I go running. You probably can't tell, but I do like to run. It just gives me time to get out and think, and I quite often will go for a run. I try to go for a run once in the week before work, and I will come into work so psyched and so full of ideas and really irritating and make people do loads of things that they don't want to do. But I just think it's really good to get your imagination going. Do anything like sport, yoga, Pilates, mindfulness is a fantastic thing to do, or literally just going for a walk. Just extend your trip to work or school or whatever, and just go for a walk. Let your imagination feed itself. So I've always been a huge advocate of work experience. I built my career based on work experience. When I was at university, I went and sought it as much as I possibly could. I did a year in industry when I was at university, and I feel that it really made my career for me. But I was lucky in that I knew that I wanted what I wanted to do. But I also think work experience is massively beneficial for people that don't know what they want to do. It doesn't matter if you don't enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, great. Now you know. Now you've spent a week of your life finding out you don't want to do the thing you really thought you wanted to do. It's just getting out there and trying things and seeing whether you like it. But if you do like it, it's so good for your CV, and go out and you can get more. Businesses are happy to give you work experience because they always need support, but equally, I would like to think that they understand how important it is for your career as well. It shows enthusiasm and drive and ambition. If you get out there and get experience, it doesn't matter where or for how long, you really don't know until you try. So, how do you get heard? You've got to be seen to be getting out there. You've got to be getting interested and making an effort. Effort really is the key word here. And when you do get an opportunity, don't just be the one sitting in the corner, ticking boxes and then catching the number 41 bus home. Be heard, and be heard for the right reasons. Get as much information as you possibly can from as many different places as you possibly can, as I've said. Be different, but not too different. Watch, listen, and learn, because the people around you have experience and they know what's right and what's wrong, what's gone wrong, what doesn't work. So really learn from everybody that you're spending time with. And speak up. No idea is a bad idea, and no question is a stupid question. I think that's one of the biggest fears when people go into companies or sort of working environments. They're afraid to ask questions or feel that they should know how things work. Well, how are you supposed to know how things work unless you ask, unless you watch and learn? So please don't be afraid to speak up, and do ask as many questions as possible. So when all this comes together, you can help build exceptional campaigns that will hopefully make a difference and possibly give you access to millions of people. Or in the case of WestJet, 47 million people. This is one of my favourite PR campaigns of all time.
On the eve before flying, the guests were in their beds. Visions of traveling danced in their heads. While out on the runway, something secret had arrived. It was left in the lounge. It was a Christmas surprise.
Hello there! Is that Cohen? What are you looking for Christmas this year, Cohen?
What I need is new socks and underwear.
An Android tablet.
Is that William beside you? And Cameron?
While the guests told their Christmas wishes to good old St. Nick, WestJetters took notes and got ready to shop quick. It was a great rush with the 2 flights in the air to get all those presents. Not a moment to spare.
Sleigh bells ringing, there's children singing tonight. Lights are bright when their expectations waiting for the night.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Where's the Hughes family?
The guests never expected what they'd asked of St. Nick would actually appear. It was all quite a trick. A WestJetter would say it was more than mere fun. Miracles do happen when we all work as one.
Be the pioneering imagination. Thank you.